Downtown's residential population has doubled in the past 10 years, and that has spurred a residential revival in the urban core. On the Business Courier front page centerpiece this week, that revival has reached 4th Street, which means a key section of downtown may be restored to its former 19th century glory. In its biggest project to date, Loring Group is investing $20 million on 4th Street. The Blue Ash firm has grown its portfolio to 2,500 apartment units in the past 5 years. The Central Business District is outside Loring's typical focus area, but when an opportunity came up this year for a group to acquire 4th and Plum apartments, the Loring team began thinking differently.
Really bringing it back to where it was originally, which was a residential high-end neighborhood with great businesses, and so we're looking to restore that.
Dean says this part of downtown is unique because it has so many historical buildings intact. Business Courier reporter Tom Demoropoulos wrote this story and joins Business Watch producer Kelly Leon in the studio with more on the revival of 4th Street living. Tom, Kelly?
Thanks so much, Allie. Tom, thanks for being here. You say in the story, as Allie said, that this is not a typical project for Loring. What is typical for them, and why did they take a chance on this one?
Yes, Loring Group has a long history. They've been around for about 20 years, and they were previously known as Penkler Properties when they focused on single-family homes. Well, about 5 years ago, they said, we want to work on the multifamily side, and their typical product has been Class B apartments, so those are a little bit less expensive than your Class A apartments, and they typically have gone to suburban areas and found properties that are in good areas that just needed some updating, so they like to find properties where they can invest a little bit, improve the management, improve the amenities, improve the units themselves, and increase rents, and that's where their focus area has been previously.
So more what we would think of as a suburban development.
Definitely, yeah.
So why take this chance on downtown Cincinnati on 4th Street?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that are happening on 4th Street that kind of attracted them to the area. You've got the new project from Flaherty and Collins where they want to build about 260 Class A apartments. You've got 3CDC and the Port looking at property on 4th Street just south of the Convention Center. A lot of activity in that corridor, and other developers doing some other residential projects along that street. So they thought this was a good opportunity for them to come in downtown. And also these buildings fit kind of their mold. They're Class B. They're not quite Class A properties. So it's in their wheelhouse, but it's a new area for them to be looking.
So what does that mean? A little bit smaller? A little bit
less expensive. So a lot of the new apartments that we're seeing are in the Class A, about $2 a square foot, $2 plus a square foot in rent range. They're aiming more for about $1.50 a square foot. So these are definitely more affordable units for people.
So what does this mean to the overall goals for downtown Cincinnati's residential population?
Yeah, so the city's really been focused on increasing its population, and in particular we've seen a lot of that activity in the core, in the Central Business District. But most of the new development has been focused on that sexy Class A, new towers, kind of more expensive units, but there's opportunity there, and I think that's what's interesting about the Loring Group's strategy is they're looking at this kind of B market as being an even bigger market because there's opportunity to get people fresh out of college, there's opportunity to get people who are kind of moving down, looking for smaller apartments, less expensive apartments, so they think this is a real sweet spot for them.
So it'll put an influx of residential folks in there. So last question, I always think of 4th Street as kind of like our Wall Street, where the bankers are and the old, the old money, that sort of thing. Does it still have that vibe? I thought it was really interesting that they want to revive the residential part of it, but is the business side of it still there too?
Definitely, the business side is still there. 4th Street's a really unique street in downtown Cincinnati, and one of the things that was cool in reporting out this story is that there are blocks of 4th Street that are very representative of the time when they were originally built, and it's so unique about Cincinnati is we've kept a lot of our buildings. So this western portion of 4th Street really shows buildings, it showcases buildings from the 1840s to the 1860s to the 1890s, and these are all the buildings that this Loring Group is going to keep, restore, invest in. So it's really cool to see this happening.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Well, thanks, Tom. Great story. Be sure to read the full version in the print edition.